then. So this is Skeptical Skeptic back again after a few weeks. So I've been reading the Islamic Koran lately, and this verse that I'm going to read right now is it's the 28th chapter of the Quran, titled "Curses on Disobedience," and it might be the most disgusting chapter in the entire Quran. Let's take a look. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord Allah, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command to thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy stores. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, the increase of the cattle, and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke, in all that thou settest thine hand unto do, until thou shalt be destroyed, and until thou shalt perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings whereby thou hast forsaken me. The Lord shall make thy pestilence cleave unto thee, until he has consumed thee from the land whither thou shalt goest to possess it. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with the sword, and with the blight, and with the mildew, and they shall perish until thou perish. And they shall pursue thee until thou perish. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron. The Lord shall make thee the rain of thy land, powder and dust. From heaven shall it come down upon thee until thou shalt be destroyed. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and thou shalt be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. And thy carcass shall be meat unto all the fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall frighten them away. The Lord will smite thee with the boils of Egypt, and with the hemorrhoids, and with the scab, and with the itch, whereof thou cannot be healed. The Lord shall smite thee with madness, and with blindness, and astonishment of heart. And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind man gropeth in the darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. And thou shalt be only oppressed and despoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell within. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and thou shalt not gather the grapes thereof. Thine ox shall be as slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine ass shall be violently taken away from you before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand. The fruit of thy land and of all thy labors shall a nation that knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always, so that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. The Lord shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs with a sore boil that cannot be healed, from the sole of the boot unto the top of thy head. The Lord shall bring thee and thy kingdom, whom thou shalt set upon thee, a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there thou shalt serve other gods, wood and stone. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among the nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. Thou shalt carry much seed out of the field, and gather but little in, for the locust shall consume it. There thou shalt plant vineyards, and dress them, but neither shall drink of the wine, nor gather of the grapes, for the worms shall eat them. Thou shalt have the olive trees throughout all thy borders, but thou shalt not anoint thyself with the oil, for thine oil shall cast its fruit. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. All thy trees, and the fruit of thy land, shall the locusts consume. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above every high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and they shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, until thou be destroyed, because thou hearkened not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments, and his statutes, which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign, and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever, because thou serve not the Lord Allah with joyfulness and gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things. Therefore thou shalt serve thine enemies, whom the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. He shall put a yoke of iron upon your neck, until he has destroyed thee. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee, from far the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue shall not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle, and the fruit of thy land, until thou be destroyed. He also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy cattle, or the flocks of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates, until thy high and fortified walls come down, wherein thou trusted, throughout all the land, and that he shall besiege thee in all thy gates, throughout all the land, which the Lord Allah hath given thee. And thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, the flesh of thy sons and daughters, which the Lord Allah hath given thee, in the siege and in the extremity, wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee. So that the man that is tender among you, and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, whom he shall leave. So that he will not give to any of them the flesh of his children, whom he may eat, because he hath nothing left in him in the siege, and in the extremity, wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in thy gates. The tender and delicate woman among you, who would not venture to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil towards her husband of her bosom, and towards her son, and towards her daughter, and towards her young one, who cometh out between her feet, and towards her children, whom she shall bear, for she shall eat them secretly, for want of all things in the siege and extremity wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. If thou wilt not observe to do all of the words of the law that are written in the book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, the Lord Allah, then the Lord shall make thy plagues wondrous, and the plagues of thy seed, even great plagues of long continuance, and sore sicknesses, and of long continuance. And moreover, he will bring upon thee all the disasters of Egypt, which thou wast afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Also every sickness and every plague which is not written in this book of law, them will the Lord bring upon thee until thou art destroyed. And ye shall be few in number, whereas ye were as the stars of heaven for multitude, because thou wouldst not obey the voice of the Lord Allah. And it shall come to pass, that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do good and to multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you and destroy you, and bring you to naught, and ye shall be plucked from the land whither thou goest to possess it. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations thou shalt find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Lord shall give thee a trembling heart, and failing eyes, and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have no assurances of thy life. In the morning thou shalt say, Would it Allah were evening, and in the evening thou shalt say, Would Allah if it were morning. For the fear of thine heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again, with ships, by the way of wherewith I spoke unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondsmen and bondswomen, and no man shall buy you. This verse is absolutely horrific. It tells of how God will bring punishment, every punishment imaginable, upon his own people with no mercy should they disobey him. You know, when I started reading the Quran, I wasn't exactly expecting anything great morally. I certainly had a pre-existing aversion to Islam, since I had heard about so many of the human rights violations carried out in Islamic theocracies in the name of Allah. And I think that when people hear about those sorts of things, they think to themselves, wow, Islam is so much more horrific than Christianity. There's just no contest. But you know what? As horrible as the Quran can be, you know, how it constantly tells about how disbelievers are wicked, evil, worthy of death, how they will have their faces melted off and boiled in water and pus in Gehenna. I never read a Quranic passage that even came close to the barbarity of this passage from the Bible. Yeah, that's right. This was a Bait and switch. You see, I wasn't actually reading from the Quran. I copied and printed out Deuteronomy 28, verses 15 to 68 from the Bible. You can look it up if you want. It's all there, along with all the other disgusting, revolting, violent, cruel, and immoral passages from this so-called guide of morality. And I switched out whenever the passage said God, and I changed it to Allah, which is fitting because God and Allah are one and the same. Allah and Yahweh are simply different words for God. In the Quran, Allah is very much so the God of Abraham, the God of Noah, the God of Adam, the God of Isaac and Jacob, the God of Moses and Aaron, the God of David and Solomon, the God of Jesus. And in the Quran, Muhammad is mentioned a total of 4 times. 4 times. Allah and Yahweh are fundamentally the same deity, and yet Christians would love to pretend that the Muslim God is a God of tyranny and wrath, while the God of Christianity is a God of love and forgiveness. Let me ask you something. What kind of God would spend nearly 1,700 words in his holy book, in a passage telling in great and gruesome detail how he will brutally punish his own people for disobedience? Not a God of love, but a God of hatred, jealousy, wrath, and evil. That's what the God of the Quran is, and that's certainly what the God of the Bible is. Why don't you really take a good look at the Bible, Christians, and how Yahweh is portrayed in it, before you claim that Allah is oh so evil, and Islam is so much worse than Christianity? You know what the funny thing is? Even though Allah and Yahweh are very similar, nearly the same, Allah in the Quran never threatened to make mothers eat their own babies. But Yahweh in the Holy Bible did.